do a little bit of that. But back to resourcefulness for just a moment. Hit my screen, would you, sir? Open me up there. I want to talk about this word, resourcefulness. The ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. I admire resourcefulness. I think I do. I think it might be one of those traits that I admire more than anything. To me, it feels like that's the spirit of the pioneer. That's the spirit that this country was built on. Resourcefulness is what every startup business requires, what every entrepreneur requires, and it's what every parent needs, right? I mean, that's the mom that takes the pot roast on Sunday and makes tacos with it on Tuesday and then turns it into a casserole on Wednesday, right? Is that sort of resourcefulness that I've known my whole life, and I think I just find so amazing about this industry in particular. I've been studying adaptability a lot too. I did a couple of reality shows Jana mentioned earlier, and adaptability was another one of those traits that I felt became, I got hyper-focused on, you know, because you're in those unreal situations. I'm gonna lose that guy. Unreal situations, difficult working situations. I mean, you take design as it is already, and design has so much room for error, so many moving parts involved, and now we really add the heat. Imagine them trying to ask you to select your colors in 2 minutes, practically in the dark, or go shopping before you know the size of the space that you're shopping for, all sorts of things like that. And if I heard one word once, I heard it over and over. Vern Yip especially, he loved to say, well, adapt or die. You adapt in design, that's what you do. And it really resonated with me. So I'm researching it now a lot, and it's the role that adaptability plays in management, in leadership, you know, and I'm finding that when we attach ourselves to any one idea, we box ourselves in. When we attach ourselves to any specific outcome, we box ourselves in, and we lose the ability to be resourceful. The interesting thing about resourcefulness is that it's almost ironic, but it is limitation that breeds resourcefulness. It is limitation that breeds creativity. And so I actually, as much as we, I think, resist the limitations that we experience, we struggle with the limitations we experience in this business. I find that adaptability is a very relevant topic, isn't it? I mean, how many times have you heard from a new home seller that they want top dollar, but they're not willing to invest anything into it? Right? I mean, we have these conversations over and over that involve limitation, but yet we are going to somehow bring in that resourcefulness and that adaptivity to be able to make a big impact, right? That is what we do. But it's not easy, is it? It's not easy. Working in limitation is not easy. But that's why you get paid the big bucks, right? We're going to work on that. We're going to talk about that because I find that there's a lot of definition still needing to happen within this industry. Definition of roles, who's doing what, who's paying for what is the best system. And so I want us to do some work here together today, because I find that if you are here in this room, you're the pulse of this industry. You just are. You know, you're the cream of the crop. You guys are here. You're involved. And we're going to be the ones that ultimately have the impact on the direction of this make-ready and home staging process that is very real, very here. We got a new MO. Y'all know what MO? Mode of operation. What is your MO? And I know in this business, I've watched the real estate industry as I've married to one of them over here, and all the teaching that I do, I teach all over. I'm in Dallas a lot. If you haven't come to some of my classes, you got to come. I've got classes they're all on the make-ready process, on architecture, building materials, curb appeal, home staging, even creative writing for those property descriptions. So I work with agents every single week, and they validate the industry has changed. I mean, it's still the same old two things that keep a home from selling, price and presentation, right? Same two things every time. It's not a mystery. The mystery's not there. We know what it is, but do we really know how to work it to our best benefit in a way that is sustainable? I had a top producer in one of my classes, and he told me a very, it was just a sucker punch kind of story. I just thought, I felt so, well, I'll just tell it to you guys. Not that I want to sucker punch you, but I do think we need to know the reality of the industry that we're in and how severe it has gotten. This agent, every girl, every guy in that room knew his name. He's a big top producer in Austin. And he said, I'll verify, it has changed. He had a listing presentation it was his best friend and his best friend's wife. I mean, it was really a formality more than anything, just to kind of sit down and talk about the process and, kind of ask a few questions and sign the paperwork. That's why they were there. And then the wife, who is like a small portion, but very real portion of our population who watches a lot of HGTV, right? Has seen several episodes of Property Brothers and asked the question, tell me about your make-ready and home staging processes. And he looked at her like, because the old MO was we're going to hang over here and we're going to really manipulate price. If we don't get the desire, the demand, we're going to play with the price and these huge price reductions. Then we've got a new school of thought that says that's not really offering the highest level of service, is it? I think we can do better. Barbara Corcoran, I love seeing her speak. She spoke in Austin a few months ago. And did anybody else get to see her? I saw someone over there nodding. She is so fun to watch. And she goes, I'm sorry, I don't know what industry you thought you were getting into, but you are in the industry of creating desire. That's what you're doing. You're creating desire. I liked that. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds a little more sexy than real estate or staging. It's desire. But isn't that the truth? We've got to create the demand that reduces days on market and attracts quality offers. And we realize we can do that. We've got a real method to our madness, and it works. Staging works if we know how to work it. And that is really what this talk is all about. It's how do we, with today's standards where they are, for home staging and preparation, because let me tell you, this is nothing new for agents. Since the dawn of their job existence, it's been their role to help advise their client on how to prepare their home to show well. That's their job, a part of their job. But what we've seen is that the standards, like everything, have gone up to such a point, and the buyers are the ones driving that. They want that model home experience, and they will pay more. They do. They respond to what we do when we stage a property. If we price it right and stage it right, they respond. Right? We hear it all the time when you're in the industry, right? You hear the success stories, so we know that it's working. But it's gotten to such a point now that just to do it on our own, if our real goal is to be a top producer, then we've got to build up our resources, because the name of the game, it's not what it used to be as far as the make-ready, right? It requires so much knowledge, so much experience, so many resources to really pull it off to the degree that we are showing to be competitive today. Hence the birth of the amazing Home Stagers, right? So I think we're just still trying to figure out how do we all work together best, because I do believe it is teamwork. And in fact, Steve Jobs said, great things in business are never done by one person. No, they're done by a team of people. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. That's what I work so hard with all my agents, is let's talk about building that team, and what does that look like, and what's your role in that team. And I wish there was one method for all of you, but there's not. Right? There's some of us like being hands-on. That's what drew us to the business in the first place. I became an agent maybe because I love architecture and I love helping people get their home ready. I don't know, or maybe you're one of those agents that loves the contracts and the negotiation, and you just, please, God help me, I need somebody in that department, So it's everything in between exists. So I want us today we're going to be doing some self-evaluation. We're going to be asking ourselves some questions. We're going to be working together a little bit at our tables too. So hopefully when you leave here, you'll have a better sense of what you want from the staging community and how the staging community can better meet your needs real specifically. So if we know it works, what is the freaking challenge? We all know it works. Why is every agent out there not paired up with at least 1 or 2 home stagers and just in their back pocket and just doing this deal? You know, there's a challenge here, and I want us to unpack that challenge, okay? Let's talk a little bit about that. You know, first, you know what? I'm sorry. We have our worksheets on the table now? Do we? Okay, and if you're short, I know y'all have something to write on. Y'all can look at, we need a worksheet at this table. Can we just get like 2 at this table? And we need one here, and we need another one over here. Are they magically? If everyone at your table has one, we'd like for you to share one with one of these tables that might be a little short, and I apologize. We've got an extra one someone is going to share. We've got 2 people sharing. Thank you. Look at us. See, I told you we're so cooperative and helpful. Before we go down and start unpacking what we don't have, I want us to take a moment to get in the right state of mind, because your game, your business success always ends and begins with your mindset, right? And so I'd like for us for just a moment to step into some gratitude for what we have done this year specifically that has increased or helped develop your staging business. Something that you've done for if you're a realtor, what's something you've done to improve your home staging and make-ready processes this year? Maybe it was you called a stager and asked for help, or maybe it was you got a certification, or maybe it's just being here today. You know, this is what you have done in this department of your business, but I know we've all done something, and I want us to focus on a positive real quick, because we're about to focus on some negatives. Okay, so just take just a second amongst yourselves, think about it, write it down, write that one down, and then we're going to answer number 2 and write that down, and then we're going to share with our partner, somebody at our table beside us. So how have I improved my make-ready or home staging services this year? We're always getting better. All right, once you got one written down, let's go to number 2. If I only had blank, I would feel more confident managing the home staging and make-ready process. What is it where you're just maybe quite not feeling like you're all put together yet? Maybe it's your pricing structure's not all figured out, or if you're an agent, maybe you just haven't quite gotten that painter or that stager or that, what is it that you'd like? I like how studious we are in here. We must be working, because I never get this many agents in a room. Aren't talking. About another 30 seconds on thinking, and then we're going to share. All right, guys, can we just everybody kind of find a partner at your table? Kind of buddy up in twosies or threesies. Share real quick. What is that one thing that make you feel a lot better? And how have I improved? Those big things? Yeah. Just drop one, scatter them out. Just drop them on the table. 30 seconds. All right. Come on back. I'm going to do this to you a few times. I'm going to send you into group discussion, and then we're going to come on back. Great. Are y'all looking at me? Are we talking? We're done? Okay. Oh, the second question was, if I only had blank, I'd feel much more confident about my make-ready and home staging processes. Yeah, if you're, which one are you coming here as? Are you you're both? Well, if you're an agent and a stager, is your emphasis mostly on real estate or more on the staging? Then let's go there. Let's go there. And in that business, what is it you're feeling like? God, I could just rule this business if I just had. Something incredible happens in the world when we focus. Hi, Debbie. When we focus on the solution. Guys, right now that's what we're doing. We're focusing on what it is I want to see more in my life. And what little seeds did I plant, little sprouts that have come up. We have to celebrate those. If we constantly just keep pushing forward more and more and more, we rob ourselves of the very important gratification of, hey, I've made progress this year, and I'm going to make more progress next year. The truth is, we get more of whatever we focus on, right? So if we are in a situation and I say, but I don't have this, and the client didn't do this, and I can't believe I don't have this, and I'm focusing on everything that is wrong about the situation, and I will continue to manifest more limitation, more frustration, and less of what I want. There was a moment I'll never forget. It was the first challenge on Design Star, where one of the challenges that they put in that I guess, well, it's a challenge, but then they have like many challenges within it, you know. And one of those, I had to repurpose an item and incorporate it into the design that I was doing. And the item that I was supposed to incorporate was on a delivery truck that was stuck in LA traffic. And we got the radio, it's not making it in time before the end of the challenge. And I just had that moment of, oh my God, I'm gonna fail. I just got here and I'm gonna freaking fail on the first challenge. I got really stressed. I was focusing on the limitation. I was focusing on the lack of what I didn't have. Another girl came over and said, okay, well, what do we have? Aha, gratitude for what we do have. I find that gratitude raises, well, I don't find it. There's research. If I can step into gratitude for a moment, start counting my many blessings, right? I'm in that moment. What do I have? Now, my literally my frequency is higher because I'm in a state of gratitude and I'm creating towards what I do want. I wound up looking around at the items that I had and went, oh yeah, I got all sorts of stuff I can work with here. Something clicked, right? It's like I unboxed the situation and my best solution came through. Don't y'all love that when that happens? It's that because of limitation, and we don't lose it. We stay positive, we start counting our blessings, saying, what do I have? Let's get real grateful for it, and let's see what comes. That's when that next brilliant solution comes through. And it sure did. And in fact, that first challenge was favorited by all the judges. It was wonderful. It was my favorite challenge of all. But that lesson was big for me. It's something that has helped me in every single design job, or I stage for that guy. I only stage when he needs me to, but I'll do it. And we have fun doing it. But every single time you get in that situation, don't you? And focusing on what we do have certainly helps. Because there's a lot of things we don't have. Let's come over here to this part now. Let's start talking about the challenge. Some of these questions that we've got that are lacking definition. The challenge is we are lacking definition for some pretty big things. First one, as the agent, how much am I paying for here? And how much can the client actually pay for? It's all over the board. Some of my realtors in Austin, I mean, they freaking pay for everything. They pay for the furniture, and they just put it in there. I mean, they will do whatever it takes, but that's just the climate there. You drive down the road 45 minutes to Wimberley, and I mean, they're still just taking pictures with iPhones, you know, and just like sticky notes in the background and fly swatters. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're not doing anything. And it's like, okay, it's still working there for a little while longer, I guess. They didn't get the memo. And I know in Dallas, it's pretty competitive, isn't it? It's really competitive here. I think it's probably similar to the Austin industry as far as what is expected from the agent. That agent makes some good money, though. You know, you make some pretty good money off that deal. You take, you know, even 3% on a $700,000 home, you're talking about some bank, right? They need to be working for that. So if you're here today as an agent, I am so glad you are. Just like in all my home staging CE classes, I say, I don't care if you need credit or not, get credit on the books, because this is something that you want to show your clients you are skilled in. And that's what you're doing today. I am glad you are getting skilled in it. You have to be able to talk the talk to set the expectations for the process that you want to go down, whether or not you're doing it or your home stager is doing it. You've got to be educated enough and have some credentials. So I'm so glad that we got to invite y'all this year and that they're allowing the affiliate program, because I think that you want to be attached to this, but we still got to figure out how much we're paying for and how much the client is paying for. Right? We've got to define that. I know and I don't have the answer for you. I hope that we talk about that some today, because some of my brokers, like I said, I mean, I've got some all the way on this end and some all the way on that end, and it's somewhere in between that you're paying for. I'd say probably the most common thing that I'm seeing is that agent pays for that consultation. What were you saying? Split it by, like, describe that.
Split the staging fee.
Split the staging fee, just right down the middle. See?
They pay for the staging consultation as part of their marketing package. Yeah. I would say the top agents usually spend more money on the staging costs, for sure. It's all becoming now more a marketing thing and including it in their presentation, which is big. That's huge right now. Huge. And by the way, sellers are expecting them to have staging as part of the marketing.
Oh, exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. It is part of it now, right? It's like that top producer when she said, tell me about your home staging practices. They are expecting it, right? But it's interesting. We've got a very split population, and I think that's what kind of makes it a little tricky. We've got half of the people that do expect it, or not even half. I'd say a smaller amount that are really expecting it. And then you got this other portion that just doesn't get it, so they don't value it. And we have to educate them so that we can be competitive, right? So we're still defining who's paying kind of for what. And I love creative solutions there. I like that idea of being able to split. I've heard of a lot of brokers where they're paying for that consultation and that report. They want to get all that. And then what they're hoping for, what I hear from them is, I wish my stager could close. I wish my stager could close. You know, it's like they've opened the door, they've set you up, they've said all the nice things, they've given you, they're holding the space so that you can do it. And damn it, once again, I have got to run this consultation. I mean, I got the consultation, I've got the report, but now I've got to run the job. They want you to do it. They really want you to do it. They don't want to be doing it most of the time. But we need stagers to close more. I'm going to share a method with you here. I think it's about middle of the presentation on that specific topic on how to close the deal. So how much to invest? That's another big thing. What has high ROI? We just don't know. Like I mean, if you're a stager, you do. I mean, you're trained on that. But I think for a lot of agents, they don't know. All of this stuff that we're talking about, there's no training. Like, they don't come out of school getting trained on anything on their product. I mean, that's my, I guess, big endeavor is I'm trying to bridge that gap for realtors so that they can speak about their product. They can talk about the architecture and the current building materials. They can talk about it because they don't get trained in that. I know he feels a little, definitely on the edge of his comfort zone going in to do a home evaluation and talk about improvements that he knows are going to be high in return on investment. So that's another thing that we're lacking. Am I going to do it myself? Am I going to outsource it all? Is it going to be a collaboration? I liked your collaboration idea. And then do we even know what the services are available for us? Y'all, a lot of the agents out there, they haven't heard of half of the staging services that are available to them. They just don't even know. How can we take advantage of what you can do for us if I don't even really know what you do? So we've got a lot of definition still to do, don't we? We sure do. But all of those things together, if I can get it together, that's going to give me the experience. Experience is something that is felt. There's every now and then you can get somebody who can kind of fake it. Malcolm Gladwell came out with a research that recognized that at 10,000 hours of whatever you're doing, you cross a threshold of excellence, and it is felt. It is that experience, and the reason they say it is priceless is because it is true. That is why every time we hit the wall on something, we get disappointed by something. I know I got some cred today. We got some new experience today. We will never, that was a very expensive lesson, but we now know, we're building that experience, and sometimes it's painful, but man, it is felt. It's the experience. It is having infrastructure, like processes and payments and forms, infrastructure for doing business. And then the last thing is your freaking resources. I'm only as good as the people behind me, right? I cannot come in and make recommendations unless I am confident that I know I've got people who can take care of those things that we're talking about. It is confidence that's going to get this thing done. It's confidence that sells the staging services. When they're having the listing presentation, that's where it ends and begins. It's all about that level of confidence. But I feel I will have that confidence if I've answered all those questions. If I have some experience and I have some infrastructure and I know I've got amazing resources, heck yeah, I'm confident when I'm talking about what we need to do in here and how we're going to get it done. I'm going to grab this listing by the horns and we're going to do this thing. I'm so confident, everyone feels it. The number one response he gets when we do realtor tours, we did another one day before yesterday. Was that yesterday morning? Gosh, yeah. The number one comment he always gets is, how does she get them to do that? In the occupieds, because they come in and it looks like a hotel, and they're living there. And he just looks at them and, what do you normally say, honey? Something like,
she's very pushy.
yeah. Persuasive, I like persuasive better. Thank you, much better. I'm passionate, and I know what I'm telling them is right, and I feel wholeheartedly confident about my suggestions. And they feel that, and they go, okay, and they line up. Who in here has kids? Do any of y'all, I've got twin boys, they're 10. Y'all got kiddos? Yes. Okay, as a parent, then you know that this is true. If I'm wavering, I'm unsure about a decision that I'm trying to, say it's bedtime. I'm like, guys, think about going to bed now. It's probably about time. I'll get all sorts of pushback, right? But if I say confidently and firmly what is happening tonight, we're going to brush our teeth right after, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. They know I'm sure. I am assured about it. I am confident. And they get in line. Yes, ma'am. Our clients are the exact same way. They are so stressed out. They are so nervous. This is a big deal. They don't do this. They never sell homes. They're really hoping. Their hearts are tied up in it. And they are going to push you for control because they're not sure you know what you're talking about or not. They don't really believe that when you say, if I do this, I'm going to get this, I don't trust you. So that's when we get the pushback. That's when we get the resistance, because they don't feel that we are truly confident because we haven't done our homework. Okay? We've got to do our homework if we want to be. Let me see her. I want to see my Beyonce. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Here she is. Now that girl, When she does that, that's confidence. Isn't that? I mean, it's a glow. That is confidence. And why? Because Beyonce knows she's got a team of people taking care of everything. All she has to come up and do is do her job. And she knows they have got her back. She's got infrastructure. She's got resources. She sure has experience. So she can walk up there and do that and feel good about it. I want y'all to be like that. I mean, y'all are. Come on. Y'all are the Beyoncés of this business. Are you not? Everybody, let's hear it go. I am. Because you are. I'm a rock star. I'm a rock star. Without real estate agents, none of this happens. You know, I mean, title's in business because of you. Staging is in business because of agents. You know, mortgage lending companies, insurance companies, everybody's swirling around that agent. That agent is the rock star. And if we are the stager in this business, we are like costume and design and hair and makeup, right? But we are this vital, huge role, and we do it together. It's too much for any one person, especially if your goal is to be a top producer. We can only do so much in each day. We need that team. Like Steve Jobs said, we need to be like Beyonce, be confident when we go in there. Confidence equals cooperation. That's plain and simple. If I can gain their confidence, I gain their cooperation. They fall in line. Okay? So, let's get into some of these different types. We're going to start getting a little technical here. I want us to share. And in fact, Daniel passed out some sheets on some tables. Okay. Well, each table that was given a sheet, one of these large sheets, it's got a style of staging on there. Elect a little table spokesperson, because I'd like for you, I'm going to bring you the mic, and not just in your own words, would like for you to define what that is. Okay? All right. I'm going to start on this end. What's my furthest table over here? No one there? Might be right here then. Spokesperson. Going to you. Okay. What did you get?
Redesign or remix.
Did y'all hear that?
Redesign or remix.
There we go. And is that two different things?
I think it depends on the person providing the service.
Right? How would you define a redesign?
A redesign is when a client is not selling a home, but we're using primarily what they have in their property to change up the look for their own purposes.
Perfect. Wow. That was very succinct, wasn't that? Thank you. What is your name?
Lee.
Lee. Thank you. Okay, now Lee, tell us a little bit about what's a remix.
Well, I've never offered him remix, but I'm not 100% sure.
Anybody at this table offered a remix? I have. Here we go. What's your name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
I've only done a few, but it's basically what I defined it as is when I go in and I take what they have, mix it in with my inventory, and maybe they've got a great sofa, but they have the tallest pillows that came on it. So I bring in a fabulous pillow pack, change that out, change out their lamps, change their art, and then suddenly their base pieces are working, and I've made a nice amount of money on an occupied stage. So, yeah.
There we go.
Or
Thank you,
remix.
sir. That is a remix, and before that was a redesign. Now, I know we've got a lot of seasoned agents. I know my seasoned agents in here. I hope y'all step up and act as the spokesperson, because I know for some of y'all, you're like, this is redundant, but for others, you'd be surprised. They don't know. I bring this up in all my classes, and they don't know what half of them are. So one thing that we're doing is not only airing it so everyone in this room knows what those types of staging are. The other thing is, I hope we're trying to do what you did so nicely there, so succinctly express that, both of y'all. That was so well done. That's what we need to be able to do when we're trying to sell our services to real estate agents, is to be able to succinctly describe whatever the heck it is we're trying to provide them with. Do we have one here? Nope. Raise your hand. Who's got one on their table? We got one. Okay, tell me your name.
Shannon.
Shannon. Okay, you've got
Photo styling.
what is photo styling? That's the one they never know.
So it's not something that I offer, but I think it is when you have a stager or stagers go in for just a couple hours prior to the photos to stage for the photos. So I would assume you're using what the homeowner has to spruce things up for the photos. Is that good?
Yes, now sometimes a stager has done staging in there, right? And you're circling back around to make sure everything just looks perfect. And maybe you're bringing some extra flowers or some other little touches and things. Is that right? Did we leave anything off on that? Because I know that that's one of those. Perfect, thank you, Shannon. Raise your hand. Was it this table back here? La, la, la. We're going to see how far we go. Okay, meet me halfway. Here we go.
All right, I have occupied home staging consultation, which also has 3 bullet points afterwards. So,
Tell us your name first, though.
Kristen from Houston.
And are you a stager or a realtor?
I'm a stager. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, good. Please, define away.
Okay. So, verbal walk and talk is going to be a walkthrough with the homeowner of the home that is verbal, and you provide specific recommendations addressing the needs of the property and help them to determine what the priorities are of implementation prior to the listing.
And so are you getting in these walk and talks, are you getting into any sort of a condition questions like paint or?
Yes, yes. So you'll address not only the furnishings, decor, artwork, accessories, but also any updates or repairs or type of return on investment types of things that they might consider implementing. So.
Yes. Awesome. What are those other bullet points?
Okay, consult and report. So the difference, I always like to say, between an occupied home staging consult and a walk and talk is that with the consultation, you're going out and assessing the property and then presenting a proposal to the homeowner at the end of your consultation that will give them an idea of what further services we can do or we can provide to them to help make the home market ready.
Perfect. Love it. Now, some people I've noticed are providing those reports after the fact. That's how it used to be. And now a lot of them are getting them done right there on the spot, too, and kind of making that speedy. Have any of y'all implemented a system where you can just do it right there during the thing? Some of y'all have? There you go, Miss Shannon. Cheer.
And I don't know what the last one is.
Okay, where is Homestar Staging? Is she in here? Nope. I actually took this word from her website. I thought it was so catchy. Console staging. But I think a lot of us do that blend where it's, I'm coming through to give you a consult, but oh my God, I can't help myself. I just want to move that sofa over just a hair. Or, it would all feel... you just, before you know it, you're kind of moving stuff around. It's a little bit of both, right? And so I think that's just kind of our nature. It's always hard to stop once you get started, right? We can keep on going. All right, do we have any others? I feel like I might have one or two more. Yes. Hey, girl, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Tell everybody your name.
Robin Fusco,
Yes.
stagecoach. So mine is home evaluation. So from a staging perspective, this means all sorts of things to me. Basically, it comes in layers, and that's how I try to address it with my homeowners. And this can mean anything from, usually we go there on the whole house.
Yeah.
So this is an evaluation of the whole home. What needs to be painted, what granite we might change out, but we don't start there. We start down here with the, okay, so you're gonna move things around. This will be about me coming back when you're ready for sale. You're downsizing, so let's go through and post-it note what might need to leave, what might need to stay, to the next layer of, oh, you're willing to do changes in the house? Okay, we're gonna paint this wall. We can't have red, it's not camera friendly. We need this granite because it's more contemporary. We can work with this granite because we're gonna pull the gray from it and we're gonna do a gray wall. So layers, and they go there in layers, and I just feel them out. So that home evaluation is the initial consult, either for a realtor or it could be a redesign too. Like my realtors refer me out to homeowners to do their design and layers.
How it evolves, doesn't it? It's always evolving. It's hard to kind of put the boundaries on things sometimes, Thank you, Robin. That was perfect. I think that We use that language a lot around our business is we'll come by and we say, there's a home evaluation and staging report that comes with we provide for every client, and that's it's part of our value proposition, part of our marketing, until for a while, not much, after a little while, we won't be able to differentiate ourselves with this any longer because it will be so ubiquitous that everyone is doing it. But for now, it helps to really add value to our real estate team, is to be able to provide that home evaluation. But I'll tell you what, he would never go to a home evaluation or a listing presentation without his aesthetics person right here, because I set the expectations for what's about to happen. And we split our divide. They know they're talking money with him and prices with him and negotiation and contracts and expectations on that process, and I am all on the other, and it works really well. I think we have to know what's out there, and we need to remember that the realtors don't all know that. Okay, back to our worksheets real quick. I want to ask you guys, I think the next question on there is, what aspects of the Make Ready Your Home staging process are you really good at? Some of us are really good and enjoy. I want y'all to write that down, and then we're going to share with our neighbor. What aspect are you really good at? Maybe it's the colors. Maybe it's layout. Maybe it's editing. Maybe you can edit a house like nobody's business. Something that you're good at. Agents, I want you to answer that too, because I know y'all like this stuff sometimes. Can you make that big screen now? Can you make that whole screen down the bottom right? Next question. If cost were no issue, what would you let somebody else do? What part of the process would you gladly outsource? Okay? You would love it if you never had to do that again. You got it? All right, share that real quickly with your neighbor, those two things. The thing that I know I'm good at and I enjoy. And the thing that I'd be happy if I never did it again. Right? I'm going to give y'all a minute to share. Okay. Why don't you ask Jana? Yeah, about 4:25. Ask her if that would be fine. At 4:15, okay. All right, I want to hear from a few of you. Raise your hand if you don't mind sharing a little bit, like your favorite part. Your absolute favorite part, the part that you're really good at. What are you good at?
I saw you looking at me.
Oh no, she's zeroing in on me.
I would say my favorite part, or the part I'm best at, would be design and layout, understanding.
Hey, listen up, everybody. Come back. Okay.
I'm good at design and layout, understanding styles of home, and what type of demographic buyer I need to work for.
Ooh, that last one. I'm always struggling with that. Like, who's our ideal buyer for this home? That's key, right? What marketing company would not know who their ideal demographic is? They always know. We need to know that too. That's a good strength. Oh my gosh, agents, did you hear that? What else? Who's good at something? There is more talent in this room. Give me a break. Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name first.
I am Marquita with Design to Sell in Atlanta. And I said I am really good at setting the expectation for the client and or the realtor for what to expect from our services.
Wonderful. God, as an interior designer for 15 years, managing expectations, I learned is what it's all about, right? Managing those expectations, that's an incredible asset to bring to a deal. Thank you. And you're here from Atlanta? No way. That feels amazing. Welcome to Texas. It's awesome. All right, let's do one more. Anybody else? Come here, Robin. What are you good at, girl?
I have to say this, it's across the board.
Yes.
So many beautiful stages happening, so many beautiful accessories, and there's ones that can design, and then there's one, okay, you understand when you're looking at a stage, what is the correct stage and what is not. It's about layout design. Layout configuration. If you don't get that from the get-go, it's about that first. And I have to say, a lot of stagers out there, it's not anyone in this room, of course, because we are on the forefront of the industry and we're all professionals, but how many times we look at these pictures and it's beautiful and the furniture's right and the colors are great and it's a hot mess because it is laid out terribly, not correctly.
Layout is one of your strengths.
Layout.
Composition. Guys, I think I learned a long time ago from a business coach, whatever you're good at, that's what you need to be doing more of, and identifying what we are good at and the parts that we are not. It's those parts that we are not. Yes, I understand sometimes you got to just push through something. I don't like invoicing or creating spreadsheets maybe, but I know I've got to do that. But then again, maybe I don't. Maybe I can delegate and build up. I feel like for sustainability and for maximum power, and that goes across the board. When I'm talking to agents, I want you doing what you do best. I want you to be the rainmaker out there, making the money. Just come, get those clients, bring them to us. Build those relationships, negotiate those deals, do all that you do amazingly, and then allow that stager to be a rock star for you. Start figuring out what you do best and do more of it. Right on. I think that's a key part of answering those questions of what we want to be doing. Now, here's where I think we're bottlenecking, is that we're leaving it up to the realtor to manage the expectations and to sell these staging services. And when they don't know what half of them are, it's kind of hard to sell something that you're not really familiar with. Now, some of my stagers who get accreditations and really, study and learn all about it, they can manage those expectations, and they can, but I find there's not a whole lot of those out there. And it is allowing the stagers to help. Can we help them with that? Can we please? Okay, they want our help in there. I know he needs my help in that. He's always like, okay, and kind of gives me the look. And go. And I'm like, yes. So now I'd love to start talking about how we work. Let me tell you how I work. That old Barb Shores bit. She'd say, let me tell you how I work. And I just love it. It's brilliant. Let me just tell you how I work and get them on board. We are underutilizing the stagers when it comes to client communication across the board. No one can sell their services better than the stager. Right? So let them do what they're good at. Let them earn that paycheck by doing the client communications, empowering them to do that. I've got one of my stagers, she's gotten to that point. It's like this in LA. I've got friends who are stagers in LA. They would never go to a listing presentation without their entourage. And that's usually, it's at least just their stager and maybe their make-ready like handyman. They will come bringing the abundance to the listing presentation because they know that stager will nab it and put it in the bag. And then they don't have to worry about it and they can present a more competitive product. Okay, so we have got to use our stagers, and if your agents are not utilizing you in that way, let them know that they can. Say, I'd love to go hop on a listing presentation, but we're not doing it all for free. I understand if you're building your business. I know some stagers who I've been working with have started to do that, and they're starting to get their business, so they go on those listing presentations to get the experience and to get jobs they otherwise wouldn't have had. But I think once you ultimately build that relationship and they see how invaluable you become, they will pay. You know what I mean? But I think we have got to help them in this department. We can't rely on them to sell what we do. You know what I mean? So there's those that don't get it and they don't value it. That's where we need you to educate. And then there are others that do get it, like that top producer. You know, his client got it and wanted it. Why wouldn't they? Right? They know it's going to attract a better offer. Those are the ones that I really like to get my stager in front of. If you're an agent and you're not quite sure how to define your home staging and make-ready processes, then just defer it to the professional and let her explain, or him explain what those processes are. I just want us to stop. This is a major aspect where we're coming in to do the consultation, and that might just do it, but I think we can get involved a little bit earlier in the process. I know that some of my agents that I'm talking to, they're like, hell yeah, I'd love that. I'd love for them to come and sell it. So I want us to make ourselves available in that way. We also, here we are with the presentations specifically. This is what I want us to help the agents by doing. I want us to bring the stories. We remember in story. That's the way we have evolved. That's how we remember, is in story form. And that's how I relate, and there's something called the projection theory. If you tell me a story that I can relate to the protagonist, maybe it's another couple who's trying to sell their home in a down market, tell me the story. I'll follow along and I will project myself into the story, and whatever the outcome is at the end of the story, you tell me, oh, that's my outcome too. Oh, I'm so excited. Use stories strategically. Anyone who's on the fence, a story pushes them over to doing what you want them to do. And who better has all the stories than the stagers? Usually they've been in it and they hear more stories. So gather up those winning stories and be prepared to share them. I always share at least 2 stories at every listing presentation. They might be short, but I share them. They get it. It makes an impact. The other thing that they can do, this is what Barbara Corcoran says to do. She's like, a stager got up and said, I'm trying to close at these presentations, but I'm not closing. Like, what is happening? I'm getting paid for the consultation, but I'm not getting hired on to do the services. She said, if every stager would just have their iPad that has their befores, their afters, what it costs to accomplish that, and then the sales stat right there. Like, it sold, Jana, remind me, what is it for a PSA, professional staging, it's like 90% of every home staged by a PSA gets an offer within 2 weeks for usually 17%. 99% at asking price. Damn, that's a good stat, right? A lot of people process through the numbers, and some are going to process through the aesthetics. So I want something that's going to do both. And we don't do what we're not familiar with. They didn't lay new floors before. Why are they going to lay new floors now? You've got to warm them up to all of it. So that's what you're sitting there doing. It makes me not afraid anymore. And I see that stat, and I see what it cost, and I see what they got, and I see what happened. Now I get it. And I'm not afraid anymore to sign and say, well, yeah, well, I know I can't do that. So yes, I want your help. So I want us to work on that. If you're an agent and you've got a stager that you love working with, but she's not closing as much as you would like, maybe make that suggestion if she could begin working on that. This could be one of those things that you do this year that helps your staging business, is to create that sales tool. Okay, we have to alleviate the confusion. A confused mind doesn't act. Okay, then they can also begin talking about all the logistics and setting those expectations. That's a given. My ROI #1 rule of thumb that I bring up in every single conversation that I have is your finishes need to be competitive with your price point. Y'all can steal that line. It's kind of catchy. Finishes need to be competitive with your price point. So I help him when he is wrestling with that client on price. If you're being excluded from the price conversation, you're definitely being underutilized. there's a price and then there's that staged price, right? There's the price before and then after. And we need to be a part of that discussion. I need to know the stagers that are more successful, they get all the skinny from their agent beforehand. What are we expecting? What do we have here? How much budget do we have here? What are they hoping to get? How far off of the mark are we? Okay. And get all that content before you go in so you're ready to be more effective. Okay, get involved there, and it's been so helpful for us when we've got those clients. Okay, a seller is psychologically predispositioned to believe that whatever they own is worth more than what everybody else thinks it's worth, right? We come across that every single time. So when we're sitting there trying to talk that seller down to that lean price, the price that is going to attract the most offers and make everybody go, oh, this is a good one, we better submit our best offer, I'm sitting there going, but do you see your comps? Look what kind of counters they've got, okay? Just noted. Look what kind of floors they've got. Look at all the finishes. If we don't look like that, we're not gonna get that. So we've got a decision. We can either look like this and then list like that, or we come on down on that number. We come way down. So that really helps my agent over here to be more successful, because as the professional, I'm going, you don't match up. And I want you to have a fair fight. I want you to compete well. You're not going to compete well there. You're just out of your league, right? But you'll do really well if we're looking like these guys. So I use that a lot. My number one, finishes need to be competitive. Those are the questions, and they are on your handout there. When we are upgrading, everybody wants to start with the upgrade. They want to start with the build out over here that they wanted to do, they never did. Or they'll talk about, we could add on like a garage, or I could add on upstairs, or I could convert the attic into a, We don't talk about any build-ons, any major improvements until we have first removed all the objections. Number one, right? Everything that is objectionable that might make me walk in and say, that's not me, that's what we address first. And then if we do have more time and money in the budget, then yeah, let's talk about building out that outdoor kitchen. But more times than not, they want to jump to that before they've even addressed the fact that their finishes don't compete with the finishes on the home that they want to price like, okay? So I always kind of stop them in that conversation. Let's focus on first getting all the objections out of the way, and let's look like what we want to price at. I love, this is one of a stager. I'm always promoting you guys. One reason, because I talk a lot about staging, and then people come up and want me to stage, and I got tired of saying no. And now I say, oh, I know a great stager in your area, and this is one. She does some really wonderful things that she provides that agent with. I love how she calls it your profit list instead of like your checking off list or your work list. This is how you're gonna make the money, and provides that agent with all sorts of marketing materials that helps. So even if she's not physically there, she has supported that agent in saying, I've got a wonderful little checklist that you can use to put in there. I've got a wonderful thing that helps to set expectations. I've got some great stats. I've got some great before and afters. What would help you better sell my services? That's the secondary if you can't be there yourself. All of this marketing, y'all. Home prep guides. Agents would love this from you. They would appreciate this from you. I asked one of the top producers, I did a class for him. He's got a really cool firm in downtown Austin. I said, well, why are you doing all this stuff? I mean, you're working yourself to death, like almost 80 hours a week. He said, I just don't have time to even go out there and meet a stager. I don't know any stagers. I'm like, how do you not know any stagers? You know, I said, how do you want to meet them? What would make you happiest? I said, do you want them to call and make an appointment and come by your office? He goes, I don't even want them to call. Just pop by the office, bring me by some materials, show me what you can do, share with me some of your stats, some of your experiences, maybe a reference. Come in here and just meet me, because isn't that interesting? He just doesn't know any stagers. There's so many of us out there. So I just want you to feel encouraged. If you've ever felt intimidated about walking in there, just know they want you. They need you. You are what makes them feel like Beyonce. You are that infrastructure behind them. And so it is wanted. And they don't even want a phone call. But when you come, you need to bring materials, something that really helps them better understand what you're capable of. I like these. If you're not working on these, start working on these. Stagers, get your loyalty programs. I know some stagers, it's like after the second or third time, you'll forever get 10% off. It's like you kind of lock them in. there with that better pricing. Some of them do rebate programs. I know that she'll charge for a vacant staging walkthrough, but if she gets hired on by the client to actually come in and furnish it, she rebates that back to the agent for having got her the gig. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can be doing here to price structuring ourselves so that we can actually support the process a little better. We got to just make it a little bit easier, a little more malleable when we're working with those agents. Oh, this is a good one. This is one example. I know there's other ones out there, but when I hop back over here to the pay at close, there's all sorts of variations you can do on things. You can get paid up front for your services, but you can get a lot of other things to be paid at close. If you're working on your resources, I got one agent, her clients never pay for anything until close. I'm talking new roofs, new paint jobs, new flooring, new granite, new light fixtures. They don't pay for any of that until close because she works her resources. She has worked it. There are resources that want to work with you, but we just have got to actually work it. We're not working it enough. We're just taking whatever they say at face value and thinking that's the best that they can do. They will do better. CWS has done better. This is an awesome service. It just came out this last year to support stagers primarily. What they want to do is they provide furnishing so that when you want to, I know a lot of us, we don't want to invest in all the furniture, right? It's a lot. Some of us do. Some of us can. Not all of us have the deeper pockets. So what I would do is I would let them I would take all my furniture, have them deliver it, tell them everywhere it goes, charge for my staging services, and then let them pay the bulk of the rentals at close. We got to get more creative because the cost is getting in our way. But we don't want to get paid less. We just need to start getting more resourceful, okay? This is one of our last slides here. We are going to build our resources to build our business. The best thing, I'd say, I don't know, more than half of the listings we get are from our resources. If you have a few minutes, I always tell Daniel, if he's got 10 minutes, call one of our resources. Ask them to tell you a little bit more about the way they work, how you're a real estate agent, and you're looking to improve your make-ready processes. If I'm a stager, tell me a little bit about how you ask them. Tell me how you work. I'm looking to become more of a invaluable team player to the real estate agents that I support. And I'm really wanting to work on my resources that I can bring to the table so I can be a full-service make-ready professional. It's possible, but we have to work on it. We have to call them and ask them about their business. And then there's a few ways. I know these brokers, they're struggling right now. They're seeing all of the staging coming up and all of these expectations that are being put on their agents, and they'd like to kind of get a nice, what's the word? It's almost like just a standard that can be expected from their brokerage, right? Every brokerage has whether you're Keller Williams or Remax, Abbey Halliday, all these different ones, you've got your look, right? And your expectations, your standards. And so now we're having to figure out how do we create those standards for all of our agents. We need to go in there and tell them how we want to work for them. We want to work for them over and over again. And this last little bit here, this is how we can build that better rapport with each other. I know a lot of us are secretive about all our prices and stuff. I don't get that. I just don't get it. If I'm shopping around, again, if I'm confused or I don't know, I'm just going to assume it's more than what I can probably afford and I'm not going to call. Oh my God. Share your prices. Share your services with them. Share all of that. Share as much as you can about the process. We're trying to get everybody on board and everybody familiar because, like I said earlier, there is one portion that totally gets it. For those, we can say, we got you covered. For the rest, we're having to educate them to kind of bring them up. The bar has officially risen, and we are growing to meet it. And we grow at the speed of pain. It's true. We grow at the speed of pain. It's uncomfortable when you reach, when you lift those weights. Whatever you're doing to expand your business, you are reaching, you are growing. And there's going to be some growing pains in all of this. But the cool thing is that I've seen it happen. I see it happen because I'm lucky enough to be around these agents. Once they get that stager with them, once they get that, I watch that confidence level go up. I watch them go in there and say, well, if you're going to just show it as is, then I'm not the realtor for you. And they get to the door and they're like, no, come back, come back, I'll do whatever you say. It's that confidence. But we are a huge player in providing that level of confidence for them. Okay? Know that you're wanted. Know that you are absolutely in the right place and in the right industry. There is a massive demand for what you provide, but we just have got to figure out how to better work it with each other so that we can really do this every house, every time. Right on? And be resourceful. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all. I'm so glad to see you, too. Good to see all of y'all. Thank you, thank you. Jana, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Absolutely. Back to you.
All right. Thank you. Now you know why we ended with Miss Abby after lunch. She is amazing, and I love it that she speaks from experience. She literally is in front of agents all the time and has had working with them, being able to instruct them, educate them. She is an ambassador for educating our real estate agents on the power of home staging, that it's not an option, it's a must if you want to sell quickly for top dollar. So we appreciate you, Abby, for that. Thank you again. Thank you. So as we finish up the first day, how's your day one been? Day one experience, great? Wonderful. Well, now it's your turn. I know that Abby had a lot of participants with her questions, but I would love to also piggyback on that, and let's pull out our list, our action list. How many of you have an action list? You've kind of starred some things, circled some things to do when you get back home. So let's talk about some lessons learned from today, whether it was in a breakout session, it was one of our panels here up front, or from one of our speakers, our guest speakers. It might be a phrase that really stuck with you. It may be an action item that you need to go back. Last year, someone said, I need to go back and fire someone. I'm like, oh no, great. We have caused someone to lose their job. Not good. So, I don't know if that person's here and how that went. I never followed up. I felt awful. So let's share a little bit. So let's pull out that list. Maybe this is your homework list that you've already started. It's a wonderful phrase. I wrote down what Abby remove the objections. I love that when we're talking to those real estate agents, or someone calls for a quick quote and we say, are there any objections in your home, that perceived objections? What is your home been on the market? Is it currently on the market? What is the buyer's feedback? Or that people are looking at that home. What we need to do is remove the objections. That was key. And then, of course, the profit checklist. Why are we giving them a consultation form or a report? Why are we not calling that, here's your profit checklist that needs to happen. We recommend that you do this if you want to receive top dollar. So those are two keys that my takeaway. So raise your hand if you have a takeaway. Come on, let's share. What have we learned today? Okay, Matthew, come on. What's your takeaway? Very good. There you go. I saw another hand. Yes, ma'am. Ask their employees to write their own review. And thanks, Danny, for that. That's awesome. Anyone else? What's a big takeaway? Aha moment. Yes, ma'am. Shannon? Oh, yes. Hire slowly, fire quickly. And to dovetail, that was don't hire. And I think this was Lynn. She said, don't hire when you're super busy and, that's your last resort because you don't have the time to train them. About 70% capacity now we need to look at hiring. That was great. go with that agent, and I would do that. You guys heard Mike Reese speak last year, top agent. He teaches and trains and coaches agents now throughout the country, and I would go on appointments with him, listing presentations, and we would do that together, collaborate. You may not want to do it with everyone, but those key agents where you can team up, it may be worth your extra 30 minutes or an hour just to seal that deal, and you become part of their team. That's great. Anyone else? What's a takeaway? Yes, Miss Dana? There you go. You're growing. Love it. Woohoo, good aha moment. And you said we grow in the pain, right? We grow. We grow in the speed of pain. So, and I love what Vince says as well. You know, every obstacle is an opportunity to learn and do better. You know, we don't fire people when they make a mistake. We say, oh, we'll just learn and do better. You know, when we commit to hiring someone and bringing them into our family, they have to do a lot to not be part of the family anymore, because a lot of the times they're not performing to maximum capacity because it's on us. Have we trained them thoroughly, or have we been too busy, you know, to try to get them on board? So we've got to make sure that, you know, some of those pain points that we go through in the business is just a lesson learned. It's a lesson learned. All right, another takeaway. Barbara. Plus one. Great. Mary? Power of attorney. Insurance. Life insurance, right? Right. We do not plan for the unexpected until something happens, and then we say, we need to do the fire drill. We need to do those type things. I mean, why do the schools have their drills that they go through? Because they are preparing, because at some point it could possibly happen. So we definitely have to look at that. Lucy? AATP, always answer the phone. Money is calling. Someone better answer the phone. And on our phase 2 session, those of you who may have missed it, it's SAS, like the shoes that the nurses wear. What's the company? Specialty answering service. Phase 1s need to know this as well. You may be busy staging and you answer the phone and you're trying to find the back of a receipt in your purse to write the information on. I'm speaking out of experience, no story made up. And I'm like breathing heavy. It's not good. So have someone answer the phone because someone's going to just call another staging company. And I don't know if how many of you guys use Google AdWords? How many of you? I mean, we spend a good $500,000 a month on Google AdWords alone. Now, that's not something. Yes, $500 to $1,000 a month. Not $500,000. No, my goodness. Woo. But you can do different ads, and one of them is a call now button. So it only shows up on mobile devices, and you can literally push call now. And we have a ton of call-ins a day because of that. And these are solid leads that our team can convert. So, you know, knowing that, if we're saying AATP, we better answer the phone, or we need to get a service that will, because people will call at 7 o'clock. They will call on the weekends, and we don't want to miss it. And it sends you an automatic email as soon as they hang up. You give them the scripts, and is it vacant or occupied? Okay, where's the home located? Awesome. I'm going to take that information down, and I'm going to have someone call you back at their earliest convenience. Thanks so much. I mean, it's great. It's great. When you guys came to VIP, we forwarded our phones, and we could immediately call back. So good stuff. Another takeaway. I saw some more hands. Yes. Started off this morning on clarify communication, manage expectations. You don't manage people, You manage agreements. So if you're a business owner, stop trying to manage the people and manage, what did I hire you to do? Let's go back and look at that. Now let's see how everything's doing. And when they're doing their own reviews, man, and the communication is open, I love it. That's good. And I've got to do a better job. We all can do a better job of our team. We get so busy. And one of my other takeaways is be fully present. You know, I'm like, oh, let me multitask and do 5 things at one time, and none of them are all 100%. And then that doesn't give my attention to the person right in front of me. And we do it to our spouses, our kids, you know, and it's just a bad habit. We need to stop and be fully present. We had another, yes? Okay, Miss Debbie. There you go. Because a lot of times it's good for you. A lot of times the learning curve is a lot less. Most things are so user friendly. It's the fear of what we think, the unknown, fear of the unknown that holds us back. And Barbara shared several different technologies that companies can get involved in and help that communication. It's like, I don't want to learn how to use Slack or any of the others, but just do it. Just set yourself up some time a week and say, hey, let me put 30 minutes on to learning some new applications that's going to help my business, because that's going to add another 30 minutes to an hour to my week if I can be more efficient and gain more business. So good stuff. All right, I know we have a few more last minutes. Lisa? Make your car a university on wheels. That's right. So, you know, the Jim Rohns, the Les Browns, the Zig Ziglars, Chet Holmes, there's so many people. Listen to some Tony Robbins, Firewalker. Where are my Firewalkers? Right there, right there. Okay. So, you know, those are the things that you really want to pour in, because we only know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And that can be a scary thing. We have to realize, I only know so much, and to get beyond that, I've got to go out of myself and listen to experience and wise counsel, and get those good things in. If you need to write some stuff on your mirror, like she talked about this morning, that's great, because the world will try to suck the energy and pull you down, but we've got to build ourselves up and walk in that confidence and do our Beyonce, and we're good. We're good. Awesome. All right, anyone else? Danny, I want to see you do that Beyonce. Oh, now. All right, 2 more. I need 2 more, and then I'm letting you go. I'm not letting you go until I get 2 more. Okay. Andrea. Oh, yes. Now, Andrea, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but we really got to know you at our last mastermind in San Diego. You and Linda have such a great working relationship, and you just exude energy and youthfulness. And I'm thinking, and I won't again put you on the spot, but that it's amazing to me that we have people that are just saying, you know, forget retirement. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make our businesses work for us. And it's amazing to see that. You know, we don't want to just close the door on that. And I love your inspiration and the inspiration of many that are in the room, that we can keep going. We don't have to think about, you know, that. We do have to think about the power of attorney and all of those things. You know, we had a loss this year with one of our fellow stagers. Don't want to get emotional. You'll hear tomorrow that we are going to have an award in memory of her. And it's one of those things, you just never know what tomorrow looks like. So we have to be fully present in today, but also plan for tomorrow. So it's so important. You were next to last. Who's my last? Oh, okay. I'll do both. Well, real quick. Debbie? You get what you focus on. That's great. Ritza? That is so great. That deserves an applause right there. Because you have accomplished so much, and it's great to look through the rearview mirror to see where you've come from, but know where you're going. And it's great to celebrate the wins. Celebrate the wins. Don't compare yourself to other staging companies that are in this room and say, well, oh, now I need to go get a 3,000 square foot warehouse, and now I need to get the 10,000, and now I need to hire 20 people. No, it's not about comparison. It's about what have you achieved and where do you want to take this? And being crystal clear and focused, Debbie, on where you're going. And I think it's going to happen a lot quicker when you +1 every day of your life. +1, you're going to have that incremental growth, and it's going to be compounded, and you'll see a huge difference. So we're going to do a quick drawing before we let you go. And you're getting out a little early, right? Are we getting out a little early before 5? Hey, we did pretty good staying on time, huh? I've been to some conferences, and they were supposed to end at 5, and we're still going at 7:30. I'm like, what happened? What happened? So that's important. Do you have to be present to win? Yes. Yes, you have to be present to win. And Lynn, if you want to bring up a couple of books, whatever you want to bring up, we'll just do true drawings here. So you ladies.